Welcome to Behind the Barcode, the podcast that goes beyond the label to uncover the stories of the faces behind your favorite products. We're your hosts, Anna and Sydney.
In this podcast, we dive into the dynamic world of consumer packaged goods with a focus on better-for-you products. As entrepreneurs ourselves, we know firsthand the challenges and triumphs of bringing a product to market. That's why we're here to share the journeys of fellow innovators, industry experts, and entrepreneurs who are making waves in the CPG space.
Join us as we sit down with inspiring guests to explore the stories behind the UPC codes, uncovering the passion, perseverance, and purpose driving their businesses forward. Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur, a budding startup, or simply curious about the stories behind the products you love, this podcast is for you.
So grab your favorite snack and get ready to go behind the barcode.
Thank you so much, Brian, for coming on the Behind the Barcode podcast. We're so excited to have you. Sydney and I have both had the pleasure of getting to know you and working with you through our businesses. And you're just such a huge source of knowledge and someone that we really look up to. And we're just excited to get to know you more on the podcast and be able to have you share your story and talk about the CPG industry.
Oh, no, I mean, so grateful you guys reached out for me to be on this with you guys. Yeah, I love that you guys are doing this. I think it correlates with everything you guys are working on in your life with your brands, and it'll be fun to watch them both grow at the same time and complement each other. So yeah, super excited for you both for this. So thank you for having me on.
Thank you. So tell us more about who you are, who Brian is, and then what you do for work and how those are closely related.
Wow. My story's kind of funny. I moved to LA, actually not far from here, right on Barrington. We're on Barry over here. So like 20 years ago. So it was a while ago. And I moved out here and I was promoting nightclubs. And I also ended up meeting Christian from Von Dutch, and I helped launch the brand Ed Hardy. And so I was doing like events, nightclubs, and helping the brand Ed Hardy grow, doing licensing deals with Ed Hardy and helping them expand into multiple categories, and finding brokers to help the brands that we expanded into different categories. We did, we had eyewear, we had pet, we had beauty, skincare, we had multiple licenses. So that was kind of the beginning of me learning how brokers worked and how brands grow through different channels. And after I left working with Ed Hardy, I started a licensing agency working with brands and celebrities. And I worked with Jessica Simpson on a swimwear line. I did some lines with Corona and some of the Pepsi. We did some other branded licensing deals. And again, I started working with the brokers I had met that were helping us with the Ed Hardy line. And then my first year of going to Expo West was in 2010. And I started to have the aha moment. I realized like I found my place. The products were fun, but the food and beverage and wellness industry was what was so exciting to me, because it also kind of hit me when I was on my path of my own journey of starting meditation, starting, that whole path of, taking care of ourselves. So I was watching what I was eating. And so while I was at the trade show, I started finding some of the cleaner, better for you products. So it was a lot of fun trying to help those brands in the beginning when I remember one of the brands that we started working with early was the Honey Pot, which she kind of came on and disrupted that femcare industry by coming out with plant-based femcare products that were clean. I know
this brand. Wow. Okay.
So that was a really fun, exciting brand that we got to work with, and we still work with them. And it's a fun brand.
Amazing. So have you gone to Expo West every year since 2010?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. So how has it changed since then?
Yeah. Oh God, it's so overwhelming. I love it and I hate it, actually. It's gotten too big. Obviously there's some days where certain areas are open, some days where, they're closed. It's a whole experience. But as I say that, I love it. I'm grateful for it. Without that, we wouldn't all be able to come together. And I love the experience of getting to obviously meet new brands that are there showcasing, just like, you guys have had that experience. But yeah, Expo West has definitely evolved. It's because it's in our backyard. We're lucky. Think about for all the people that have to travel from East Coast.
I've thought about that so many times.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
So there's lots of trade shows that I go to that I have gone to through the years. The Sweets and Snacks show is a great one. The Fancy Food show is great. They have one in New York and also on the West Coast. And but I was going to all the trade shows, the hardware show in Vegas, the houseware show in Chicago, lots of trade shows, the Super Zoo trade show in Las Vegas.
Zoo?
Yeah, Super Zoo.
Animals?
And Global. Yeah, you would love it. It's like the
Wow.
pet trade show.
Whoa.
So all the animals are everywhere. It's hilarious.
So cool. So
It's
you
one of my
truly-
favorite shows.
You know, like a little bit about every single industry.
Yeah.
It sounds like.
It's been fun. I've been going and learning. And what I would do is go to these trade shows and try to find the brand that I align with the most. The brand that's the cleanest, that has the mission of trying to make a change, that's better for the earth, that's better for us. So yeah, those are when I'm working with brands like that. Obviously, brands like y'all's. You have brands that are here with cleaner ingredients. They're here to make us feel better. Those are the brands I get fired up about. So as long as I'm working with brands like that, I'm heading in the right direction.
We were just going to ask, how do you find emerging brands to work with? So obviously all those things are great. Like it's coming from a passion, like it's from you too, like you're passionate about it. And it seems like you only really work with brands who you're aligned with, which I love.
Absolutely. I mean, you just nailed it. A lot of it also has to do with the people, because it's the people's energy that are going out into the world. And I've shared this with you, Anna, and I think I have with you, Sydney, as well, as what you guys have created is a part of you. And so the more love and the more attention and the more, the more excitement you put into what you've created, everyone's receiving that as they buy it and as it grows and as it expands.
Absolutely.
And so I want to align myself with people that are obviously like you guys, because it makes the opportunities a little bit more exciting and fun. And I always say this, like, how do you feel when you hang up the phone with someone? Like, how do you feel? How do you feel? Like, I want to feel good after a call with someone. I want to know that, like, that's the kind of person I want to continue to work with. And so, yeah, I try to align with those types of clients, and I feel like you guys are attracting those types of people into your life as well. So it makes it work, because it does get tough. This industry is not easy.
Yeah.
And so I want to be in the trenches with someone that I also believe that's transparent and that's, always speaking everything out loud. We don't have to hold anything inside, because we all have to know everything, because we're all kind of a team together if we're attacking specific retailers together.
Yes. And I was just going to say this too, and we've been talking about this, and it's definitely this generation of being transparent and open. And I feel like a lot of, like, our parents' generation was more closed off when it comes to business and information that you share versus what you don't share. But as you said, like, Anna and I only want to work with people who have good energy, because you literally, it trickles down to the person biting into the protein bite or taking the sea moss gummy. Like, the energy transfers. Like, I totally feel that. And also for those listening, like, what your specific role is that you're helping. I would like you to define it, but you help CPG brands get into retailers that they desire to be on shelves at.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's evolved. I've been in this industry for 15 years. So in the beginning, it was working with brokers, and that was basically the business model. I had brokers that I had formed partnerships with, and we would interview brands and we would pitch our services for that specific retailer. And that's the white space in the industry that I found. There's brokerages that cover specific channels. Then there's brokerages that cover a specific retailer. The way I came in was I found brokers that I would partner with if I had a brand, because I trusted them.
Yep.
I would only typically partner with brokers that were ex-DMMs or ex-buyers, because they knew how to navigate through the systems. And so those are the partners I've made. And these are partners that have become like family to me. So a lot of these people that I've been working with for years, it's been long-term partnerships. And so we've gotten to work with really big brands, and then some emerging new brands like yours. So, and we treat them all the same.
It's amazing.
So the business did evolve. It started with just the brokerage, and now it's expanded into advisory services. So separate from helping brands, obviously get into the retailers, letting them know when the reviews are, and then overseeing the business and handling the buyer communication. We also help with sourcing and manufacturing and packaging, and when they need to raise and PO financing. And so I started realizing I kept meeting people that were an added value to a brand that was growing. And so I started bringing those to the clients, and the clients would actually say, what are you're doing so much more than just sales. This is an advisory option. So we'd love to have you a part of our company. Wow. So as long as you're helping us like you are each year, we would love to give you a little equity because we want you more involved, because you've shown yourself as to be more involved. So, and that's also what I say. It's actions are everything in this industry. You can say anything you want, but it's what did you do today and what did you do yesterday?
Yeah.
And so the brands that we work with, as long as we're adding value and we're constantly helping them grow, they're not going to let us go. Yeah. We're in this for the long haul. So I really try to secure partnerships with brands for long term, and that's the goal always. So it's less clients and just go deeper and wider with them and be with them for the long haul.
I love that. I feel like we've been in scenarios where it's been like all talk with different manufacturers or ingredient suppliers, or I can do this for you at this cost and I can do it at this cost, and oh, I'm going to get you into this place, and the distributor says, oh, we're going to help you get your open up this account. And it's just it's action, as you said, and it's viewing partners as long-term partnerships, like, oh, growing with a brand. I always say that, like, when I'm partnering with different agencies or with different contractor, like someone who wants to help French Squirrel get to the next level, help Akasha Superfoods get to the next level, they may have to grow with us, you know?
Yeah. So this podcast is a lot for like people that are just starting out or they're looking to start a business. So can you actually break down and explain like what a broker is, what a broker does, and why someone would need a broker?
Absolutely. I mean, when you're working with retailers like Erewhon, Gelson's, Lassen's, Mothers, Bristol, Lazy, all the accounts here in Los Angeles, those can typically be handled in-house. Like those are accounts, they're, sub 10 doors. Typically they're managed by, either the director of sales that works in-house or yourself, the founder. As you start growing outside of the independent natural retailers, that's where things start to get a little tricky, and you have to start working through the distributors like KeHE and UNFI. And as you start growing and you start talking to retailers like Sprouts, it's typically the way you work is you want to find someone that's local, that can be up at headquarters once a week, that knows how to navigate through the system, that's already working with your buyer, that has, FaceTime with your buyer once a week, that can continuously, pitch other items that you're creating because they're on the call with the buyer. So I think there's so much value there. And then also when you're on shelf, the broker is there to kind of hold your hand. He's the extension of your VP of sales, and he or her has to manage the account and make sure that the projections are set, so we know when to help you guys place your orders when you're working with your factories. We'll help you figure out when you need to create BOGOs or any kinds of discounts, because we know the trends of when specific categories need to go drop and go on sale a little bit to ramp sales up, to catch up. Yes, definitely. So yeah, I mean, there's so much that a broker does, but again, a lot of it's just managing the relationships with the buyers. It's filling out all the paperwork. It's filling out new vendor forms. A lot of it. Yeah, but again, we kind of do that together. Just because some of it you guys have and we don't have, but we get it done.
And for those listening, there's different buyers for different categories of the grocery store. Anna and I are in completely different categories: supplement space versus chocolate/protein snacks. And then there's also category review timelines.
Definitely. Again,
like for people listening, you can't just submit a product whenever you want. I mean, you can, but then it won't get reviewed sometimes till the end of the year, whenever the calendar calls for it.
Yeah,
Just wanted to add that.
No, you're right, Sydney. It's a lot of hurry up and wait. This industry is, if you're in a rush, you're in the wrong industry.
It's so slow.
Patience is, and there's so much happening in the patience. There's beauty in the patience. There's there's magic in the patience, because if you actually overwhelm a buyer, you're just going to piss them off, and they don't. Yeah. So you have to, it's literally, I always say it's like you're dancing with all these people. It's like you have to learn how to dance with them, and you have to know when to push and when to pull back. So yeah. It's a lot of fun though.
Yeah.
That was beautifully said. And I feel like, because some people will say, oh, I submitted to this store, like when can I expect to hear back? And it's like, you don't really know.
No.
And we're in this era, of course, of technology, the phones. I have your location, you have my location, you respond, I can see when you read this. And I talk to different founders when they'll say, even founders like younger than Anna and I, saying, oh, well, I reached out, I didn't hear back. And how come I didn't hear back? And it's like everybody's so impatient because everything is accessible now. Everyone seems to be accessible. So then it's frustrating for a lot of new founders, like when they can't reach different stores. But like that's, as you said, there's like the beauty and the patience, and you'll eventually get there. But that's also what you do, is like you also help fill the gap. But yeah, so many people are impatient, including myself. I'm still working on it. But yeah, I just feel like it's this generation too because of technology.
Yeah, no, we're used to feeling like we can communicate with people and get immediate responses.
Yeah,
but just imagine being one of these buyers. They are so overwhelmed. Like
incredibly.
now that you can get anyone's email address and like find everyone on LinkedIn, they're getting bombarded.
Yeah.
So it's even tougher to get, obviously, FaceTime, a call with them, because they're literally, it's gotten out of hand. So
they're so overwhelmed. So like what can a brand do to stand out then if every brand thinks that they're the best?
Yeah.
Like what can they do to stand out and really like get a buyer's attention, really?
Wow. I mean, honestly, it's the simplicity of the product has to be amazing. If the product is amazing and there's a way to get it into someone's hands. So obviously at these trade shows, and then there's also like UNFI and KHI shows you can go to once you get set up with them. There's different ways of getting into a position where a buyer will come by. It's just getting them to try the product and making sure that the packaging is on point. And it's not, I mean, look what RX Bar did. They came out with like simplicity. This is who we are. This is what we're doing. They weren't even a protein bar. They were just a decadent bar that just showed you what was in it. And it was just a few ingredients. There's brilliance in that. So I feel like they started a new trend for a lot of brands to now market less. Less is more, less ingredients. It doesn't need to be zero sugar and keto. That's not what everyone's looking for right now. Mm-hmm. People want good tasting, healthy, better products that used to exist.
Yes. I just said that an hour ago about how RX Bar is the brand that single-handedly changed the trajectory for the health food space.
Big time.
And again, not to say that now they are the health food bar, because I don't think so. But the fact, it's like it was unheard of that they put the ingredients, and not just the ingredients on the front, like the fact that it was like 6 egg whites and 2 dates, like that is so bizarre.
Full transparency.
Yeah, full transparency.
Like you can make what we're making, but we're going to make it better. And we're everywhere.
Yes. And have you ever, that's so interesting. I wonder if like you tried to make an RX bar, like, but not
Probably.
actually. But
except for I think the egg white thing weirded me out a little.
Because they're like dehydrated or something.
Yeah.
People say that to me all the time for French squirrel, because we have dates that are stuffed with peanut butter coated in dark chocolate. Yes, you could technically make that at home, but it's okay because A, we'll do it better, but B, it's a convenient snack.
Definitely.
It's health on the go, where sometimes like Anna and I would be out and we would go get dinner, and then we didn't want ice cream, or we didn't want froyo. Sometimes we do. I wanted a date with peanut butter and chocolate. It's just like, okay, where do you get that? Erewhon now, or Bristol Farms, or Lazy Acres. It's just like a convenience thing. But yeah, people say that to me all the time. Oh, well, I could technically make it. Okay, yeah.
You're right, though. It's the luxury of just having it as an impulse option. And I want to give you credit. You're in a category that's only going to keep getting bigger and bigger. And we're seeing it across all channels, like mass, club, C-store. It just keeps getting bigger. It's this like refrigerated item that's like decadent. It's delicious. It's clean. Obviously, Midday Squares is leading the charge in the space, but there's room for a lot of winners to come in there and complement. So I love what you've got.
That's the word. And when we first met, I think it was like the first time that we had ever met up at Erewhon Culver City, and he said to me, Brian, he goes, we were talking about packaging changes and how I could make the product more enticing, what words I could use to like hit a different audience. And then I remember I was like, and then you go, well, do you want to win? I'm like, yeah, I want to win. And ever since that conversation, you have no idea how much that impacted me, because now I look at everything through the lens of, is this winning? Do I want to win? Yes.
That's so funny.
I'm serious.
I love it.
Seriously, Sydney says that probably every single
Do you
week.
want to? I want to win.
I love it. Yeah.
That's it.
There's always like an item that's the winner in the category.
Yes.
There's
and then
always
it's
the
why.
winner. And it's fun to become the winner, right? Like there's excitement in that.
Yes. Love it. Okay, so can you talk about brands raising capital and when they should, what the right time is, when it's related to maybe getting into a certain retail channel or anything in that space?
Absolutely. This is such a broad question because every brand has their own, depending upon how much money they have when they've launched and they're getting started and what their margins are, because every brand or every company has different margins that they're making. Obviously, like the 50, 60, 70 margin is like where you want to be, closer to 70, obviously, but it's kind of hard to get there in the very beginning.
Yeah.
Typically, it takes years to get there until you're, kind of nationwide. But yeah, once you've landed some large accounts, almost kind of like where you guys are both approaching, some really big accounts and some big expansion. That's when it's smart, because you want to make sure when you go on shelf, you get one shot. Like these retailers, like Sprouts doesn't let you come on shelf. And then like, if it doesn't work, they're like, we'll bring you back next year for a round two. Like you get one shot. So you want to make sure that once you're landing some of these larger accounts that you're funded. And if you're not, that's when you want to potentially raise. And it's hard for me to throw out a number, but a lot of companies will do some kind of a like $1 to $2 million raise in the beginning to make sure that they can handle their inventory, they can handle marketing. Obviously right now, everything has to do with TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, everyone's driving traffic. The second you land in a retailer, you need to put all the energy and attention you can to making sure it moves. So, I think once you start landing some of your accounts is when that needs to happen. I don't think you need to do it in the beginning. I think you can handle and manage some of these 10 account doors and less on your own. You should be able to.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a good answer.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah.
And especially like Sydney and I have both bootstrapped up until now. I mean, we're definitely like Akasha, we're looking to fundraise. Now that we're expanding more, and we really, like what you said, you really do only get one chance.
Yeah, because one thing to get in.
Yeah.
That's the easy part. It's the selling, after. Not to say that it's easy. I'm just saying that's the step one. And then actually you have to get it off the shelf. And for everyone that's listening that wants to get their product ready for retail, what are those upfront costs that you know about that you can explain? Because a lot of people that are starting businesses, they don't know what free fills are. They don't know what slotting fees are. They don't know what any of these promotions are. The cost of promos. Like my friends were over last night for tea and dessert.
Spill the tea.
And they're not in the CPG space. And she said to me, Sydney, oh, well, like if French Squirrel is on sale at a store, is that from the store? Like the store is taking the cut? And I'm like, no. French Squirrel's taking the cut. And she's like, that's crazy, because she's always thought that it's the store that's running the sale and getting, but it's the brand who has to take that piece. So anything that you can share for anyone that wants to get started, has a product for retail, and they don't want to go in blind.
I mean, again, each retailer is going to be different. So it's a broad question that can kind of, to get to each retailer, we could have a conversation about how it works. Obviously, if we're talking about, like a Sprouts, sometimes people will do like buy one, get one free. And again, that's on you. It's not on Sprouts.
Yeah.
So Sprouts wants you to do things like that, because obviously that's going to drive, more sales and help with your velocities. But yeah, no, I mean, it definitely costs. Retail it's not easy. It's hard, and it costs a lot. It's very different. There's a lot of brands that are selling direct to consumer and through Amazon, separate from their website, and they're receiving a certain margin, and it's easy. Not easy, but easier. The second you go into retail, you're now shipping to a DC that then is shipping to the retailers, and sometimes boxes get, mixed up, and
Lost.
yeah, there's
misplaced.
Especially if you're in the refrigerated set, you have to be careful if you're shipping something that's cold. And so, it's, retail's not easy.
Yeah.
I'll never forget when I drove to one of our old distributors. This is when we had the old glass jars, because retailers kept receiving product that was over a month expired. And I would get phone calls. So I finally was like, all right, I'm driving to where the product's being stored. And they had boxes and boxes of expired product that they were sending out, and none of it was getting disposed of. None of the new shipments, they didn't know where they were. And so they were taking from like very old product, and you just never, it's so disorganized sometimes, even though when things really appear as being organized.
Yeah. And the bigger it gets, the more issues that are going to come up. And
I mean, this has been a personal struggle for me recently in the last few months, just because it's been crazy since Expo West and all of that. It's like, what problems do you actually tackle, and what things do you let go? This just came up for me right now, because this just happened to me the other day where this is a real life example. I sent 70 cases of product to a distribution center. And then I saw photos of that, it was 70 cases on the box, like counted, it was clear. Gets to the distribution center and they say that there's only 67 cases. And I was like, but the photo, and I submitted the claim with the freight carrier, the person who got it there. I just now don't get paid on 3 cases, which doesn't sound like a big deal, but it kind of is when it's talking about retail product that's now lost. And then I, unfortunately, because of a lot of just bureaucracy and then limited time, I was just like, oh, I can't deal with this. I got to move on to the next thing. And it sounds like, oh, no big deal, just lost 3 cases. But then I'm just like, okay, this is not a problem I can actually even put my energy towards right now.
No, I mean, I think that's smart, because it does take too much energy and time to try to figure out how to get that solved when you could just let it go.
Especially as a one-woman show.
Yeah.
Everything.
I'm just like, okay, this is the back and forth, and you can't get anyone on the phone. So I'm just like, this is not worth 3 cases. It's not worth it. 30, maybe, not 3.
I agree.
Yeah. That was my realization. And it just came to me today because I was actually kind of feeling bad about it. Well, I gave up. No, I was like, why did I give up so easily? But it's just that my attention is needed on winning. Ryan.
What if those 3 cases? What if those 3 cases needed to go to wherever they went, and someone needed them? Like, what if someone I don't know.
Someone was starving.
Someone's really hungry.
And it was the cereal clusters.
They wanted
someone's
peanut butter.
eating well.
Someone's eating well.
Yeah, someone hit the jackpot.
And it's just like, it's crazy. And the warehouse actually sent me videos of it being like loaded off the truck. And I'm like counting it. And I'm like, am I insane? I'm counting 70, but they're saying. So, and then at that point, it's just like, you got to move on. Mm-hmm. That's something that my former boss, the VP of Air One, was the best lesson he ever gave me when I first started French Squirrel. I would like wallow in emotion sometimes for a little too long. Like, I'd be upset about something, and he's like, move on. And it's tough love, but it's move on. You gotta move on. It's not like, it's not any meant in a positive way. It's just like, don't stop with this.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's great advice not to hold on to stuff once it's over and there's nothing you can do about it.
Just move on.
Yeah. So do you work with any brands that are like primarily D2C?
I mean, most of the brands that we're working with are coming either from D2C going into retail, or they're already in some retail a little bit, like an Erewhon, and then we're helping them. We kind of start out with Sprouts. That's the smallest account that we work with, and then we go up from there.
Smallest.
Even though they're 400 plus stores.
Yeah.
There's ways
they're
of launching.
They're growing a lot too.
There's ways to launch at Sprouts though, where you don't have to launch nationwide. We did that with Coconut Cult. We did that with Three Wishes cereal. We did that with Magic Mind.
Regionally.
You can launch in well, again, it's all in the negotiation.
Yeah.
There's ways of not going too big too fast. And I think Sprouts likes that too, when you can crawl, walk, run with them, because you learn the kinks. When you haven't landed in a 400 store retailer yet, you don't know how to ship 400 stores yet. So it's like that. There's big growing pains that happen from shipping to 10 Erewhons versus 400 Sprouts. That's a really big jump. So it's a good thing when Sprouts approves a California test or a California launch before it goes to national.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, like how would you negotiate that? How would you go about doing that if they're like, oh, we want to launch you in all of our stores, but
I was
you
just
only have
gonna
the
ask that
capacity
question.
to launch it?
Yeah.
You're honest with them, and you let them know that this is the biggest launch of the company and that you want to do it right, and you want to make sure that it gets promoted properly. You're going to do extra promotion for the doors, so the velocities and they love high velocities because everyone's winning. So yeah, if you ask them, and it's all a negotiation. Like there's so much, and that's also where it comes into where you working with a great broker. If you have a broker that has the relationships with the buyers, they know where they can push and they know where they can pull. Like it's all in negotiation. There's even ways when there's fees that you can move the fees into marketing instead of, there's a lot that can be done. But again, that has to do with whoever's managing the business for you and what can be negotiated.
I view that as a positive though, too, like to say, hey, I thank you for approving us for all doors, but we actually don't want to launch in all of them. And I think for people listening, like it's not a bad thing. Like it's a good thing to say, I want to focus on helping you guys win in the best way. And it means starting smaller instead of biting off more than you can chew, maybe.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. And one of our bonus questions is that we don't even talk. I know we talk about business mostly, but whenever like I see you around, I feel like you're always doing something interesting, or you're like in flow state. And this business is so stressful. Like this industry is so stressful. What do you do for fun? Like, who is Brian outside of the CPG space? I know you like to go to festivals and whatnot. Like, tell us about that and how you've time managed with work, how you balance it with work, because it's something that I'm personally working on. You as well. Anna started going to the beach every day recently. Yeah. I'm speaking for her now.
I go and ground at the beach every single day, and I actually had my stress levels taken at this wellness center in Calabasas, and I had the lowest stress level out of 10 people there.
Wow.
Which was
crazy.
That's so cool.
Pretty cool to see how it's working.
Wow. I mean, I think it goes back to like around 2010 to 12 when I found meditation and yoga. I got really big into kundalini yoga actually, and I was teaching it for a while. Oh, wow. And breath work. And I do breath work a lot. So I love breath work, and I also love sound as well. I love having friends over, and we'll do like a little breath work, a little yoga, and then I have a gong that'll play, and like it's like a whole fun experience. So yeah, I'm drawn to spaces where people are growing and evolving and working on themselves. So I like to have opportunities to do that with friends. And so I'm constantly going to either workshops or events around the world where there's opportunities for self-growth. Yeah. So I'm just, I love the exploration of going inward. And as the more inward I go and the more work I'm doing on myself, I'm seeing the outside shift and change. And I get to attract people like you into my life, people that I love working with. So yeah, it's important to find the balance. Yeah. Definitely this industry is, I even have friends that are like, how are you even in this? Like,
well, that's kind of what I mean. Is like the juxtaposition, like this business, the sales brokers, the retail, the supermarkets, like it's so, I don't know what the word is, like boxy, like just, what's the word I'm looking for? And you just
cutthroat.
Yeah, and you don't have that energy, and I love that.
That's why I feel like I gravitated towards you.
Well, I mean, this is gonna sound really
You're
funny.
Approachable.
It's probably an overshare, but we were meditating. It was at Golden Bridge, this place where you could do Kundalini yoga in West Hollywood. And I literally saw like brand expansion group, like in my mind. I was like, oh yeah, that's what this is. So like the name changed. I just had like a regular LLC. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm here to help all the people that are here to help everyone. So like, I'm here to help the brands that are going to help us live longer. I'm here to help the brands that are going to make us feel better. So I kind of got that as like my download of like, that's my place for the next, I don't know how long, but I'm in that like position right now where I'm just helping the brands win. And I'm getting to advise or invest or help them with sales. So that's what's like lighting me up right now. And, yeah, I mentioned a few of the brands that we work with, but yeah, again, the brands just have to be in alignment with like the path that we're all on, and that anyone that's doing something that's better for the earth or better for us, it just, yeah, those are the brands that I feel like I align with from, you know, doing the inward work that I've done. So it's been a fun journey, and who knows where it's going. But I mean, it's, as you're saying, you go to the beach and it's about the balance. So as I say all this, I do sweat yoga too. I love sweat yoga.
I was just gonna say, I think I saw you at sweat yoga.
I love going there. So yeah, I think all of it's great.
Yeah.
I like to hike. I like to run. I like to lift weights. Like, I think all of it's great. It's just, you know, finding the balance in all of it to find a space where you feel full in what you're doing every day. And so, yeah, by doing that work helps me feel full when I'm also working with, you know, the brand aspects. And so that's a lot of fun. Thank you for that. That's a fun question to answer.
Yeah. It's just, you don't see it often, as I think a lot of this industry is dominated by people who are so, like, as you said, like cutthroat, like very just square.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to speak badly. I mean, it's great. Love the industry. But you have like so much depth and flowiness. And that's definitely why we're all friends, because it's like in the spiritual space too, like tapped in.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's like that we're not doing this just for work, money, business. Like we're people outside of our businesses too.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of like why we came up with this question, and we both came up with the question together. Like, we knew we wanted to ask you this, oddly. Yeah. You know, we were like, what are we trying to say? Like, we're trying to say, how is Brian so calm? That's what we're trying to say.
You're so calm.
Yeah.
There was a period where it was like 2012, 13, I was teaching yoga and I was like, wait, am I supposed to do this? But I was like, no. I'm so lucky that I get to do what I'm doing, literally. And I mean that, like, with it all. I get to wake up. I speak to founders throughout the day. I help them figure out how to go to market, how to, you know, which products they should launch with. I'm just trying to figure out what would I do if I was in their position? And if I don't know the answer, I say I don't know the answer. Like, let's find someone that knows it. I definitely don't know everything. I've learned a lot of lessons over the last, 15 years in this industry. So I just want to like pass that on to anyone I'm working with. And so I love, it's like this energy exchange that we're all doing. As long as I'm able to help, even with retailers, I won't sign a contract with someone if I can't help them. I'm very discerning on who we sign right now. Like, if we're signing a contract, it means I know I can get a response from a buyer, and I know that we're going to be able to help you. But we'll even do a little due diligence to even see if the category is expanding, if they're looking for anything new, if they're looking for innovation. If they're not, I'll share that with the brand and say, look, it's not the right time. Let's revisit this later.
Intentional.
And I know we didn't get to talk about it, but
no, go ahead.
Private label is
is
an interesting kind of space right now. Private label's hot right now. I mean, we're seeing it firsthand in all channels. Obviously, Trader Joe's is the winner, and like they've built a private label retailer that we all, have come accustomed to. But now all the retailers that we also shop in separate from them, it's that space just keeps getting bigger and bigger. So it's actually becoming harder for brands to compete against the private label, on shelf.
Why do you think it's growing so much?
Because the cost of living has gone up. So consumers now, when they go to retail, like a Walmart or a Target or a Kroger or a CVS, they only have so much money for the family, and the cost of living is crazy right now. And especially we're seeing it here in Los Angeles. It's nuts.
It's crazy. I feel like so many retailers are going out of business and they're replacing it with apartments. They're building so many luxury apartment buildings where affordable housing units. So I feel like it's like completely shifting. And I've noticed that like so many stores and stuff, they now have a majority of it's private labeled, and you look at it and you're like, is this much different than the branded one?
I go through 50 that
cents less
every single day when I'm shopping. I'm like, which one? Which one? I don't know.
Right.
I mean, but I look at it as like, it's all good because it just makes the brands work harder to tell their story, to create a product that tastes incredible, make sure the packaging's on fire, make sure that what's like your ingredients are on point. Zero Acres, another brand I think it's out there that's doing really good work. I got to invest in their company, and I know they got Chipotle on board, and they're combating the whole seed oil movement right now. So they have like the plant oil that's coming
the algae oil. Is it algae oil?
It's from plants.
Oh, it's from plants.
I think they reached out.
Yeah, they reached out to you.
To me on Instagram. Wow.
I'm sure they would come on here and like they're all really good people, and
that would be great.
Okay,
Zero Acres a fun one just because we're seeing everyone's waking up to all the oils that we're using and that we were using as kids and we didn't even know. Like we didn't even know. We were born on seed oils. Like we didn't know. Olive oil. Remember olive oil when you were a kid? It was like that was a specialty.
Yeah.
Like that's like an avocado oil didn't really exist when I was a kid.
We used vegetable oil at home. It was canola oil.
My dad was
and the Pam spray.
The Pam spray is
it's okay.
But we actually had Artie. Have you heard of Artie's Sweets and Treats?
Eats and Sweets.
Eats and Sweets. Eats and Sweets.
Well, we're going there after.
Oh, amazing.
He has a food truck. It's all seed oil free.
Oh, wait, is that the one that's at Brentwood?
Yes.
Oh, wait, the
it's
burger?
So good.
Oh,
yeah.
right. I gotta try this.
All homemade.
I keep hearing about this
He
burger.
makes his own ketchup, his own bread.
With raw honey. The ketchup has raw honey in it too.
It's great.
So I can see he's like at the forefront of starting this movement of like seed oil free fast food and really bringing back the joy from like fast food in your childhood, but making it seed oil free, which is so simple, obviously kind of expensive, but
I love it. Yeah. Habiza is another brand that we're working with. They're obviously not using seed oils as well. And like hummus. Yes. Young entrepreneur,
like budding.
chose building a brand over college. And like, I think it's amazing. So cool. He's all in and like.
I was making hummus in the garage he started doing. And then after, we had a whole like deep dive. And then now he like wants to take on the big guys. Like he's hungry.
Yep.
And it's great. Like the founder community is awesome. Yep. Habiza hummus. That's great hummus, by the way.
So cool.
It's delicious.
Yeah, I feel like that app Seed Oil Scout too is really going to change businesses because like Sweet Green, they went seed oil free once there was a demand for it. So it's really just like creating a huge demand for certain
and like making
products.
Noise.
Yeah, making noise about it.
Yeah, there's so much awareness now about it. So because we didn't know before. Like we just didn't. We were in the unknown, but now it's up in the known. So
More people, the known. Especially with like TikTok, Instagram. I mean, people are finding out about things. Way more transparency, importance.
Yes,
absolutely.
So, where can listeners find you? I know you don't post a lot about brand expansion group, but
it's funny.
Where can they find you?
I mean, I said this to you guys even off camera or whatever, but like, I'm just very private about it, just because it's there's a lot of people that do what I do. There's a lot of agencies out there, so. I'm just here to help, and obviously there's referrals that come in through brands that we're working with, but we can also only take on so many clients, and I don't ever want to, there's only so much time in the day. So I'm always open to having like exploratory calls with companies, but we're not the agency that's like trying to sign a bunch of companies. It's just not like that. So very intentional about the brands that we work with, and very grateful that you guys were open to having me on here. And I mean, if anyone ever wants to reach out, like they could definitely come to like my website. It's just brandexpansiongroup.com or and I'm happy to have a call with anyone about this space, just because I love it. And I definitely, you can feel the energy when we're going in about like how to win on shelf and
how to win
on shelf.
I think the title of this episode should be how to win with Brian Rubenstein. How to win. Okay.
How to win, and then also finding your daily meditation practice.
Yes.
To combat the stress of the CPG industry.
Love it. Anyway, thank you so much, Brian. This is awesome.
No, thank you guys for having me. I love you guys.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Behind the Barcode. We hope you enjoyed diving into the stories behind the products that fill your shelves. If you enjoyed listening, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast on your favorite listening platform.
Stay connected with us on social media for updates, behind-the-scenes content, and sneak peeks of upcoming episodes. You can find everything linked in the show notes. And if you have a story to share or know someone who does, we'd love to hear from you.
Keep innovating, inspiring, and being curious about the stories behind the barcode. See you on the next episode.